Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Secure Your AI Transformation, a practical guide to governance, risk, and defense readiness. Today, we want to move past the hype, give you guys actionable strategies for securing your AI journey, from establishing robust governance to defending against modern threats. So we'll start out with some quick introductions. On the left here, we've got Matthew Ford, Consulting Director with Mandiant. In the middle is Alex, Principal Consultant, also on the Mandiant team. And on the right is me, Stephen Vito. I'm a Security and AI Specialist here at Google Cloud. We're bringing together both the frontline threat intelligence from Mandiant and the cloud architecture side from Google Cloud and security to give you a complete view of securing your AI transformation. For the agenda today, we've already knocked out introductions, so next, we're going to dive into the current threat landscape and look at the actual risk and attack vectors targeting AI deployments today. And then we're going to talk through how to build a strong governance model to be able to keep your data secure and control user access. From there, we'll explore how your security teams can actively use AI to automate detection and speed up incident response. And then we're also going to cover how to stress test your systems and simulate attacks to find vulnerabilities before anyone else does with red teaming for AI. And then finally, we'll open up the floor to take any questions that you have at the very end. Okay, so as you adopt AI, you need a security architecture that is going to be able to scale with it. The Google Cloud security portfolio is built to be open, multi-cloud, and entirely AI-driven. So starting from the bottom up here on this graphic, at the foundation, we secure your underlying cloud infrastructure. So for advanced cloud security, we've partnered with Wiz to provide comprehensive AI and cloud security posture management. For the modern SOC, we have our Google Security Operations, commonly known as SecOps, which integrates directly with our Google Threat Intelligence. So you're always hunting with the latest, highest fidelity insights. We also protect the endpoint and access layer with Chrome Enterprise Secure Browsing. And then, of course, we bring the best in breed frontline expertise and incident response through Mandiant. And then tying all this together is our agentic defense with Gemini, which is woven into this entire portfolio to help your security teams automate responses at a speed that humans simply cannot match. And so now that we have a foundational understanding of the Google security portfolio and how it works hand in hand with our agentic defense with Gemini, I'm going to hand it over to the Mandiant team to talk about what we're actually seeing on the front lines and how you can proactively defend your organization.
Thanks, Stephen. Now that we've framed the high-level architecture for our security portfolio, I want to dive deep into the real-world ground truth that we're seeing on the front lines. We're going to look at how threat actors are operationalizing artificial intelligence right now, how the broader vulnerability landscape has shifted under our feet in the last few weeks, and what this means for enterprise security programs going forward. Let's start with the hard macro data from our latest M-Trends report. Just last month, we released Mandiant M-Trends 2026 report, compiling actionable data from over 500,000 hours of real-world incident investigations conducted throughout the past year. The single most alarming trend is the complete collapse of the defender's window to intervene. Historically, we viewed ransomware and extortion operations as linear, distinct phases. An initial access broker would compromise an environment, hold that access, and eventually sell it in an off-market forum to a ransomware affiliate. In 2022, that broker-to-affiliate handoff took a median time of roughly 8 hours. By 2025, our data shows that this operational handoff has collapsed to a mere 22 seconds. What this means in practice is that automated, tightly coordinated criminal partnerships are moving at machine speed. The moment a perimeter vulnerability is exploited, a secondary group is pre-staged to move laterally and escalate privileges almost instantly. Furthermore, attackers are aggressively targeting edge security appliances, virtualization platforms, and third-party SaaS integrations. They aren't just looking to steal data, they're actively denying recovery by destroying backups, compromising the administrative fabric of the enterprise, and exploiting structural blind spots before a human engineer can validate alerts. We can no longer rely on the reactive recovery models. defense must evolve towards real-time, proactive containment. When we look closely at how AI is amplifying this threat landscape, we see a clear evolution from basic automation to end-to-end operationalization. On one side of the ledger, attackers are using generative models to scale traditional vectors. Smart phishing campaigns no longer carry the telltale grammatical errors of the past. They're highly contextual, linguistically perfect, and tailored using open source intelligence. We see deepfakes moving past novelty, becoming weaponized in voice and video formats to target help desks and execute high-value social engineering. But the deeper technical challenge lies in behavioral agility. Adversaries are leveraging machine learning to deploy adaptive malware that can evaluate local endpoint telemetry and rewrite its own code to evade signature-based detection. When you combine this with automated password sprays and AI-driven bot swarms, human triaging models simply can't keep up. It explains why a staggering 90% of organizations admit they lack the security posture maturity required to withstand the speed of today's AI-enabled threats. Human-led defense is simply being outpaced. To make matters more complex for enterprise security teams, the foundational framework we've used for decades to prioritize patches is officially broken. Over the last 5 years, we've witnessed a massive 236% explosion in the annual CVE submissions. In 2025 alone, NIST enriched roughly 42,000 CVEs, and even with that immense effort, the backlog continues to grow, leaving organizations to triage and manage thousands of unrated vulnerabilities. This brings us to a critical turning point. On April 15th of 2026, NIST officially changed its operational mandate. They've deprioritized non-known exploited vulnerabilities. Moving forward, NIST will only enrich vulnerabilities that are explicitly listed in CISA's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Federal Use Software List or classified under Critical Software Guidelines. To be clear, CVSS-based triage is becoming the way of the past. If your vulnerability program relies on waiting for a public NIST vulnerability database score to trigger a patch cycle, you're operating in a severe blind spot. The responsibility of prioritization has shifted entirely to the enterprise. With specialized AI tools expanding zero-day discovery windows down to a matter of days or hours, you can't patch everything. The only viable path forward is a risk-based and exploitability-validated prioritization engine. You must know what's actually exploitable in your specific environment right now. The macro business consequences of failing to adapt to this reality are severe. We're looking at a median cost of $52 million for an enterprise mega breach, but the financial hit's only part of the equation. Cybersecurity risk has become a direct drag on business agility. 81% of firms report that they have had to delay or completely cancel strategic innovation or technology initiatives due to security concerns. Furthermore, when a breach does occur, the operational friction lasts for quarters, not days, taking an average of 258 days to fully contain. Security can no longer be a bottleneck that halts innovation, nor can it remain a reactive silo. To safely adopt AI and accelerate the business, we have to implement an architectural guardrail framework that matches this threat velocity. To take us through how we establish that foundational structural balance, I'll hand it over to Alex to discuss AI governance. Alex, over to you.
Thanks, Matthew. To defend against this rapidly evolving threat landscape, organizations cannot simply observe the risk. They must operationalize their defense by establishing a comprehensive AI governance capability. So let's start with the opportunity. According to a May 2025 PwC survey of over 300 leaders, nearly 3/4 of organizations believe AI agents are going to directly drive their competitive advantage. It's easy to see why. We're moving past basic task automation. Today's agents can proactively reason, plan, collaborate, and execute workflows completely autonomously. That represents a massive leap in our ability to increase productivity, cut operational costs, and accelerate decision-making. However, that exact same capability, autonomy, is a double-edged sword. Because these agents operate very little human-in-the-loop supervision, the risk profile completely changes. If an agent isn't properly secured, bounded, and governed, its ability to take autonomous action can quickly lead to unintended and potentially harmful outcomes for the business. The industry is acutely aware of this tension. In that same PwC survey, respondents ranked cybersecurity as their absolute number one concern when it comes to deploying these agents. Furthermore, a foundational lack of trust ranked third. The bottom line here is clear. The potential for a competitive edge is huge, but we cannot actually realize that value until we proactively solve for security and build trust within these autonomous systems. As companies adopt AI faster, the tech stack behind it naturally gets more complex. This is great for innovation, but expands the attack surface that organizations need to protect. Taking a look here at a standard AI architecture, at the application layer, you have autonomous agents executing API calls and orchestrating workflows. Below that are machine learning ops platforms like Vertex AI, handling model serving and registries. Then you have the foundation models themselves, whether it's proprietary APIs like Gemini or open weights like Llama. These models are constantly pulling context from your data pipelines, meaning structured data from BigQuery or unstructured data from Slack via retrieval augmentation generation or RAG implementations. And finally, you have the underlying compute infrastructure like your container orchestration and GPU nodes. Because these layers are so deeply integrated, a vulnerability at one level, like a compromised agent API, creates a direct attack path into your data stores or infrastructure. It enables lateral movement, which means we cannot secure these components in silos. We need a unified security posture across the entire AI pipeline. The methods to attack or manipulate AI are diverse and increasingly sophisticated. We at Mandiant commonly observe threats such as prompt injection, where malicious instructions are covertly embedded within prompts to manipulate an AI agent's behavior. You see model and tool poisoning, where attackers introduce tainted data to alter a model's training or fine-tuning, leading to harmful outcomes. We see overprivileged agents, where agents are operating with excessive permissions and expanding the potential damage in the event they are compromised. Additionally, we're seeing data exposure, sensitive or private data accidentally or maliciously revealed through AI interactions or processes. Lastly, we see unintended actions, where AI agents performing actions that are not aligned with their intended purpose can cause harm. A common, most effective example of all this is indirect prompt injection. So imagine this with me, an AI agent tasked within your emails. If an email contains embedded malicious code or instructions, that agent, trying to be helpful, might inadvertently interpret these as valid instructions, leading to exfiltrate data or perform other harmful actions on your behalf, unbeknownst to you or the agent itself. With all these AI challenges and risks in mind, what are the key tenets of AI governance that every organization needs to implement? Firstly, you need a cross-functional AI council. AI security goes way beyond just being an IT problem. This requires a dedicated committee that brings together security, legal, HR, and key business units. This ensures we jointly own the risk, approve the right tools, and actively enforce our standards across the board. Secondly, an AI acceptable use policy. Legacy AUPs are not sufficient in the age of AI tools and are likely going to require a complete rewrite. Organizations have to have clear, living policies that explicitly state which AI tools are approved, exactly what data can be shared with them, and what the penalties are for unauthorized use. Lastly, we need visibility with LM observability tools. By deploying specialized security platforms that log and monitor both prompts and responses, we are able to establish a reliable audit trail. This is exactly how we prove our AI systems are operating safely and staying within its defined boundaries. This also requires technical governance. In this reference architecture here, we have the minimum secure layers. So starting with securing the perimeter. To complement our organizationally defined policies, we need to enforce strict technical boundaries. In this example here, we isolate our core AI workloads, like Vertex AI models and notebooks, inside a VPC service control perimeter. This essentially creates a walled garden for our most sensitive AI assets. Secondly, we have zero trust and frontline defense. We can't just rely on perimeter defense alone. So for internal developers, we can enforce zero trust access via Chrome Enterprise to ensure only authorized devices and identities can touch the infrastructure. For external application users, we can put Cloud Armor and reCAPTCHA on the front lines to filter out DDoS attacks and malicious bots before they ever reach our AI applications. Then we have AI-specific guardrails. As noted before, traditional security is not enough for AI inputs. We use Model Armor as an active inline guardrail. Before the prompt ever hits the model, before a response is returned to the user, it gets evaluated to block prompt injections and filter out policy-violating content. Additionally, data protection privacy. To address the risk of data sprawl we discussed earlier, we integrate the sensitive data protection API directly into the data flow. So combined with hardware-level encryption with KMS or HSM, this ensures that sensitive information is dynamically discovered, masked, and secured. And finally, continuous secure operations. We feed the telemetry from all these layers into our security operations suite, cloud logging, security command center, and Google SecOps, which provides a real-time visibility and technical audit trails required to prove our AI council the system is operating securely and within its boundaries. Going one layer deeper with Google Cloud's AI protection, which is integrated as AI security posture management capability within Security Command Center, provides a comprehensive and cloud security and risk management specifically to AI. Our approach focuses on integrated experiences across three key pillars: discovering AI assets to gain visibility and understanding of the AI environment and associated risks, manage these AI threats via detection, investigation, and response to threats against these AI systems, and securing these AI assets, safeguarding AI development and secure AI applications on runtime. This holistic approach ensures the entire AI lifecycle from development to deployment is protected. Protecting against the security and safety risk of generative AI is absolutely critical. This is where model armor comes in. Serving as an LLM firewall safeguards our AI with powerful Google intellectual property, including our content safety model, prompt safety model, sensitive data protection service, and Google AV and safe browsing technologies. These advanced capabilities address key risks such as offensive outputs, so preventing social media agents from creating posts with inappropriate content, data loss, protecting against the fine-tuned models leaking sensitive data like PII through their responses, brand reputation, ensuring customer support chatbots do not inadvertently discuss competitors. It is all powered by our sophisticated AI engines that can detect many threats before you even know they exist. And with that, over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Alex. Now that we've mapped out the exact technical guardrails required to govern and secure the deployment of AI inside the enterprise, I want to pivot to the defender's advantage: how we use agentic security platforms to defend against advanced adversaries leveraging AI themselves. In the current threat climate, if it takes your team days to author, test, and deploy a detection rule for a newly discovered threat, the adversary has likely already completed their mission. We have to compress our operational timeline from days to minutes. This is where the agentic SOC becomes a reality. By utilizing agentic tooling fueled by real-time frontline intelligence, we can implement a continuous defense lifecycle. When a new adversary TTP is discovered on the front lines, an autonomous agent immediately extracts those behaviors and generates a high-fidelity synthetic telemetry to safely simulate the attack style within a sandboxed environment. The agent then queries your existing rule corpus to see exactly where you have coverage and, crucially, highlights any structural gaps. Instead of an analyst spending hours writing and debugging manual logic, the agent drafts a high-efficacy detection rule tailored to your environment in a fraction of the time. A human engineer remains in the loop to validate and deploy, reducing the traditional multi-day process down to under 30 minutes. This turns our manual operational experience into a semi-automated security program. To make this effective, agentic defense can't just look at endpoint logs. It has to span the entire life cycle from code creation to cloud production. Through our unified architecture, we split this capability across two operational pillars: prevention and active defense. On the prevention side, we focus on identifying integration blind spots and securing the software supply chain. This means automatically generating an AI bill of materials, discovering unauthorized shadow AI usage, and enforcing pre-commit architectural guardrails. We leverage deep thinking capabilities to analyze code-to-cloud data pipelines, pinpoint the structural root cause of vulnerabilities, and generate proactive remediation recommendations before a line of code ever hits production. On the defense side, we translate this contextual visibility into autonomous operations. Triage and investigation agents handle the initial high-volume alert fatigue, correlating multiple signals so your analysts only see high-value validated risks. Agentic threat hunting operates continuously in the background, constantly probing the enterprise telemetry against the latest threat indicators, backed by 24/7 managed defense and response capabilities. Ultimately, our consulting framework is focused on helping you review and recommend exact hardening strategies required to operationalize this lifecycle. We ensure your team transitions away from the manual toil and moves towards an intelligence-led, proactive stance that matches the speed of the modern adversary. Alex, back to you.
Thanks, Matt. So building robust AI defenses is only the first step. To truly validate their efficacy, organizations must also turn to red teaming for AI. So exploiting the AI attack surface. As we move from basic LLMs to fully autonomous agents, our traditional security perimeter is fundamentally changing. We are seeing attackers combine malicious prompt manipulation with classic exploits, which dramatically expands our systemic risk. As noted earlier, prompt injection is still our number one attack vector. What's changing is the delivery. Attackers are increasingly hiding malicious prompts inside multimodal inputs, like images, or heavily obfuscating them so they slip right past our safety guardrails completely undetected. Additionally, AI is actually making older vulnerabilities much easier to exploit. Traditional application flaws like SQL injection are now being exposed through AI agents. This means attackers can probe and exploit legacy infrastructure just by using plain English. Data leakage is a highly prevalent one, where incident responders and Mandiant have verified that externally accessible agents are regularly leaking restricted data. Because of poor context scoping, these bots are inadvertently handing over internal files, databases, and even at times critical backend authentication credentials. Lastly, agentic compromise. This is the true challenge on the horizon. If an attacker manages to completely compromise a powerful autonomous agent, they can manipulate it to conduct hostile internal reconnaissance or abuse its broad permissions to essentially live off the land within internal networks. Examples of our vulnerabilities our teams have found while AI red teaming real-world customers includes example of using a banking chatbot to approve a 0% loan for 200 months via prompt injection, which again is exploiting missing documents or undefined variables to provide custom definitions and influence the chatbot's behavior, like creating the secret loan option. Here, we can see our testers being able to get a 200-month loan at 0% APR, which would be great with these current rates. And another example, our red team is able to manipulate a spot chatbot to reduce their prices and generate discounted booking links. In our last example, we use prompt injections to force the chatbot to execute unintended requests, such as printing Python code. And with that, over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Alex. As organizations adopt artificial intelligence, security teams are facing a dual challenge. They have to secure the influx of AI-driven applications being built while simultaneously figuring out how to leverage AI to stay ahead of the adversary. At Mandiant, we look at AI through three distinct pillars, all backed by frontline and incident response data. The first pillar is about establishing a secure foundation. We help organizations assess their AI governance, threat model their specific implementations, and conduct architectural reviews to ensure models aren't exposed to poisoning, prompt injection, or data exfiltration from day one. But a theoretical assessment isn't enough. The second pillar is validation. We emulate real-world attacks specifically targeting AI systems. Our teams categorize your unique AI attack surface, test your guardrails, and stress test your controls to see if your monitoring systems actually detect these specialized AI-specific attack vectors. Finally, we focus on the defensive upside, operationalizing AI within your critical security functions. We work with your teams to reduce daily operational toil, improve threat detection capabilities, and accelerate validation. The goal here is to leverage AI to upskill your current defenders and give them an advantage over the adversary. To successfully defend a modern enterprise, you can't rely on legacy reactive SOC models. Mandiant's SecOps transformation service provides the tailored strategic guidance, program support, and expert oversight required to modernize your security operations utilizing Google SecOps. We approach this transformation across three core phases. First, we focus on accelerate. This is about rapidly advancing your SecOps maturity. We partner with you to shift your SOC away from the reactive, alert-heavy mindset and transform it into a proactive, intelligence-led cyber defense function that prioritizes threats based on real-world adversary behavior. Second, we operationalize. Technology is only as good as the processes supporting it. We help you establish formal, repeatable workflows for threat profiling and detection engineering. This ensures your team isn't just writing static rules, but continuously building and refining high-fidelity detections that match your specific risk profile. And finally, we strategize for the future. We help you define a threat-driven logging and operational strategy. This is critical because it ensures you're collecting the right telemetry to not only defend your current footprint, but to fully ready your organization for the next wave of agentic defense and autonomous security operations. Ultimately, whether we're hardening your AI applications or transforming your SOC, Mandiant bridges the gap between powerful Google Cloud security technologies and the real-world frontline expertise needed to run it successfully. And I'll pass it back over to Stephen to close this out.
Thanks, Matt. And just to wrap things up, I want to thank everyone for their time today. As for next steps, we want to make this as easy as possible for you. So there's no action items on your plate. Over the next few days, your dedicated account team is going to be reaching out directly to schedule a brief check-in. They'll be available to answer any specific questions you guys have, or even help you out, like map out what an AI pilot looks like for your organization. If you don't want to wait for outreach, there's a form at the bottom of this page that you can fill out, and somebody will reach out to you directly. And thanks again, everybody. I really hope these resources were helpful, and we look forward to partnering with you on your AI transformation.